Growing up, we heard stories of heroes such as Heracles, Theseus, and Perseus. Other than their bravery, these famous monster slayers had one thing in common. They were all offspring at a union between mortals and gods. Perhaps you are more familiar with the Nephilim, the giants of the human angel children, or Dampier, the vampire-human hybrid, or the human beast offspring, such as the Minotaur. Their names and stories are well known to many. In comparison, the human fairy offspring aren't as celebrated, at least not consciously. Numerous myths and folklore mention the union of humans and fairies, but they rarely give details about their children. That perhaps also depends largely on how we define one as a fairy. Some would argue, for example, whether Oisin, the son of Fimaku, was one of the human fairy offspring, since his mother, Scythe, was a descendant of the Dagda, king of Traigh, or that Melusine, the famous face of Starbucks, the say ancestor of European nobility, has one, if we consider her mother, Presine, the water spirit with the appearance of half a serpent and half a human, as a fairy. The definition changes and blurs over time, but let's not get caught up in a discussion about what is or isn't, nor the nature of these descendants in this episode. Instead, I shall walk you through two legends where they play a major role. Our first stop is a beautiful South Wales and a breathtaking backdrop of Brecon Beacons, a place fit for the romantic tale. Well, to talk about the human fairy offspring in this legend, we must start with a parent's love story. Woodside stated that, in a Welsh tradition, the Tylwythtig, the fair folk, are generally divided into 5 classes. You have elves, the Llathlon, mine fairies, the Coblynau, household fairies, the Bwbachod, mountain fairies, the Gwyllion, and lastly, fairies of the lakes and streams, the Ghruinneart, which is the fairy parent heritage of this legend. In Blindsouther, Carmarthenshire, lived a widow and only son, Gwyn. The young shepherd often takes the cattle a grazing near Llynifan-Bach, the small lake up the hill of the Black Mountains. One fine day, while strolling about the bank of the lake, a lady rose from the water. She was the most beautiful woman that he had ever set eyes upon. It was love at first sight, and Gwyn declared his love and proposed to the lady of the lake. After 2 unsuccessful attempts, and perhaps the 3rd time's the charm, she finally agrees to marry him on their 3rd meeting, saying, "I'll be with you, but if you ever strike me 3 costless blows, I'll return to the lake forevermore." Gwyn was over the moon. Never in his wildest dreams did he think that he would get to marry one this lovely, and in no way that he would ever hurt the woman he loves. Nelferch was her name. Believed to be the Ghruinneart, women of Hanovan, the other world, a Welsh myth. these elfin ladies often appeared in lakes and streams, and some believed a lady of the lake who bestows Excalibur upon Arthur is one good-hearted nun. Unlike the mermaid, they did not have the tail of a fish, nor dwell in the sea. Instead, they appeared as a full-size human with exceptional beauty and healing skills. In addition to that, the highly productive fairy cows, the Welsh lake cattle, are frequently brought to marriages where humans buy them. Nelferch's father gave her a handsome dowry of farm animals consisting of these magical cows. The young couple then moved to a farm near the village of Myddfai, where they prospered with a successful farming business. And they were happily married for several years and became the parents of 3 beautiful sons. Sadly, the happily ever after did not happen with them. Gwyn was said to have struck her 3 times, although in all cases the blows were not intended to cause her harm. An encouraging pat on the back, a gentle tap of her arm and shoulder, but they were considered acts of violation of the promise to Nelferch. As a result, she left along with her dowry of animals back to the lake. Some believed Gwyn followed his beloved wife, plunging into the depths of the cold lake to his death, while others say he lived the rest of his life heartbroken and alone. But she was never really far away from her 3 sons. She appeared to them from time to time, teaching them knowledge of herbs and plants and the secrets of making effective herbal remedies, for their mission was to relieve the pain and misery of mankind. Perhaps it was the fairy blood flow within them, combined with their mother's excellent teaching. From there, a long line of healers was created, and they became the famous physicians of Myddfai. Ghruinneart, her eldest son, became the court physician of Lord Rhys, the Prince of South Wales and ruler of the kingdom of the Hebrides, who gave him and his 3 sons rank, privileges, and lands in the village of Myddfai for their medical practice. Their exceptional knowledge and skill in the art of healing make Myddfai the center of medical help in medieval times. In the age where doctors were few and mostly exclusive to the rich, the physicians of Myddfai certainly were rare gems, and for they treated people from all walks of life, regardless of social status and wealth. From the late 12th century, Ghruinneart and his direct line of descendants continued to practice for over 500 years in the village, making it Britain's longest medical dynasty. The gravestones of the last physicians in the line, David Jones and John Jones, who passed away respectively in 1719 and 1739, are to be seen in the parish church of Myddfai today. Elsewhere, Ghruinneart's descendants continued to practice in the medical field well into the 19th century, namely Dr. Rhys Williams, who passed away in 1843, and Dr. Charles Rhys Williams, who died in 1890 and claimed to be the last 2 representatives of the long and distinguished line of the physicians of Myddfai. Several royal physicians are also said to have originated from the surrounding area of Myddfai. Approximately 500 of their remedies and treatments were written down and incorporated in the Red Book of Hergest, one of the most important medieval manuscripts written in a Welsh language dating back to the 14th century. It has been called one of the 4 ancient books of Wales, now kept at the Bodleian Library on behalf of Jesus College, University of Oxford. Some believed it was what inspired the name Red Book of Westmarch of J.R.R. Tolkien's Frame stories. King Charles III, the then Prince of Wales, bought a property in the area. He also helped redesign and open the Myddfai Community Hall and Visitor Centre in 2011, where the physicians of Myddfai's Society held an annual conference and continue to promote and raise the profile of this historical medical tradition. So goes the legend of the healer's descent from the human fairy union. The following story, however, is quite contrary. Instead of the gift of healing, this offspring's talent lies elsewhere. We now move from the 12th century Wales to the 16th century Scotland, where ancient clans fought for reputation, wealth, territory, and survival. The tale involved a human fairy offspring and took place in the Inner Hebrides, 5th of August, 1598 to be precise. The animosity between MacDonald and MacLean had deep roots, stemming from complex alliances and feuds that have developed over generations. In this case, the feud between the MacDonalds of Dannebeg in Islay and the MacLeans of Ghruinneart in Mull. It was said that in 1542, Hector MacLean of Ghruinneart was granted lands in Islay by King James V. It was alleged that these lands rightfully belonged to him through inheritance, although the documents proving it have been destroyed by Angus Og, Lord of the Isles. These lands included the areas surrounding Loch Gorham in the Rins, where a castle stood on an island. While some claimed the land were the dowry of his marriage to Mary MacDonald of Islay, daughter of Alexander MacDonald and 5th of Dannebeg. In the late 16th century, the quarrel for a time was patched up by the marriage of Angus MacDonald, 8th of Dannebeg, to Mary MacLean, sister of Sir Lachlan More MacLean, the 14th Chief of Ghruinneart, in 1579. However, this connection did not prevent the differences arising between them. A series of conflicts occurred in 1585 and 1586. Despite the efforts of King James VI in trying to settle the dispute, the feud came to a head in 1598. The Battle of Traigh, the last significant clan battle fought on the island of Islay. It pitted Sir Lachlan More MacLean against his nephew Sir James MacDonald of Islay. Some of you might remember Sir Lachlan More MacLean, the 14th Chief of Ghruinneart, from the previous episode, The Witches of Mull. The tale with his romance with the Princess of Spain and sparked the invasion of the island and the assistance he received from the Witches of Mull. it will come as no surprise that he sought out advice from Dubh-Sith Mulach, the witch of Mo, before departing to Isla. Although Dubh-Sith strongly advised against it, MacLean insisted that he was honor bound to do so. She therefore gave him 3 warnings. First, do not land at Isla on a Thursday. Second, do not fight on the shores of Loch Ghruinneart. And third, do not drink from the well known as Ghruinneart, or else he'll surely die. Anyone will surely feel the uneasiness when the outcome of death is involved, even a distinguished warrior such as Sir Lachlan MacLean of Ghruinneart. Despite this, his determination to secure the lands and for his descendants outweighed the fear. He set sail to Isla with the forces of about 800 to 1,000 men on the first Wednesday of August 1598, normally a less than half a day journey. Unfortunately, being caught in a storm, they were forced to land on Isla on Thursday. Not a great start, for he failed to prevent the first do not do list won by the Dubh-Sith. Knowing that he had almost twice as many men as the MacDonalds and their allies from Arran and Kintyre combined, Sir Lachlan rejected Sir James of MacDonald's peace negotiation. The lineup of the troops on the shores certainly sends chills down Sir Lachlan's spine, for he now failed to avoid the second warning, to not fight on the shores of Loch Ghruinneart. A strange figure appeared in the MacLean's camp and wanted to speak with Sir Lachlan. Who is this mysterious being? The legend called this dwarfish figure with hunchback Dubh-Sith, the black fairy, and perhaps due to his dark skin and black hairy appearance. It was said that this Dubh-Sith's father was ashore from Lac in the Isle of Jura, and his mother a fairy woman. The Dubh-Sith offered his service to Sir Lachlan as an archer for the battle, but the chief laughed at the Dubh-Sith's face and said, "Spawn of the devil, and take yourself from my side before I drown you in the loch." This is perhaps the biggest mistake Sir Lachlan made, for the Dubh-Sith are said to have superior archery skills. Sired he, fairy arrow can cause illness and sometimes death to the intended target. Moreover, the Dubh-Sith take offenses seriously, and not one you want to make enemies with. Sure enough, the human fairy offspring was enraged. He went over to the MacDonald camp and offered his service. Unlike his opponent, Sir James was delighted and said, "Yes, I'll take you, and 100 more like you." Dubh-Sith then told him to focus on the battle, and that he would take care of Sir Lachlan. He soon disappeared from their sight, make his way to the well called Ghruinneart, and climb out and hid in a rowan tree nearby, waiting patiently, as if he could foresee what is to become. The scorching August sun beat down on the soldiers locked in combat, and when there was a brief pause in the fighting, Sir Lachlan felt a thirst creeping out on him. With his water carrier dry, he made his way to the well and completely forgot about the third warning of the Dubh-Sith. Taking off his helmet, and kneel down to quench his thirst. Little did he know, this was the moment that Dubh-Sith had been anticipating. In a flash, the bolt of an arrow pierced through Sir Lachlan's head, exiting through his left eye. Sir Lachlan MacLean, the 14th chief of Ghruinneart, was dead. The spot where he is said to have died is marked by a cairn and is still referred to as MacLean's Stone today. Having lost their chief, the MacLeans were routed with loss, with some 280 of them killed. MacDonald's losses were fewer, among them the young Iron chief, Hergest, and Sir James was seriously wounded. Most of the surviving MacLeans had fled to their boat. It was said some 30 of them had taken refuge in the Ghruinneart chapel. All but one were killed when the MacDonald set the chapel on fire with no mercy. As for the Dubh-Sith, no one really knew what had become of him. Perhaps he simply returns to Jura and lives peacefully for the rest of his life. Unlike the physicians of Myddfai, there's no further mention of him nor his descendants. However, a passage in the Carmina Catholica tells of a family on the island of North Feuds in Hebrides known as Dubh-Sith, from a tradition that they had been familiar with the fairies in their fairy flights and secret migrations. Dr. George Black mentioned in his work the surnames of Scotland of the name MacDubh-Sith, son of Dubh-Sith, as the oldest form of Myddfai, MacPhee, and their variations. The MacPhee clan has a long history with the island of Colonsea in Oisin in the Inner Hebrides. Interestingly, Alistair MacGregor wrote about the MacPhees of Colonsea and being the descendants of the Seal Woman, and a shape changer who can assume human form by removing their seal skin. Could this be the fairy parentage of our Dubh-Sith archer? Whether one is half fairy, half gods, half beast, or even human from parents of different cultures or backgrounds, or embody a blend of heritages which make them children of two worlds. Identity is multifaceted, and each individual, no matter the origins, faces challenges and triumph along the way as we carve out our place in the world.